Morning. History tells us about two armies facing each other across a valley. Both armies knew that to go into the valley to attack the other would be suicide, because once you got into the valley, you would be attacking up. So they faced off for a couple of days, and then one of the armies decided to propose single combat. Now, single combat was really common in that time, and it consisted of both sides choosing their champion. The champions would fight, and the winner of the single combat battle would be the winner of the greater battle. So the first army sent their champion out, a giant of a man, at least 6'9", with some of the latest armor and sword and shield and javelin, and they began to chastise them. "Send us your champion! Send us your champion!" The other army looked at each other and no one would come forward. No one but a shepherd. "You're too small," they said. "You'll never win." But somehow the shepherd convinced them to let him fight. David picked up 5 stones, walked toward Goliath, put one stone in a leather pouch, whirled it around his head 5 times, unleashed it, and Goliath fell. David ran over, picked up Goliath's sword, and cut off his head. And history tells us that the Philistines fled. So ingrained is this story in our society that David and Goliath has become a metaphor for the little guy winning. But we've gotten it wrong. We see this as David winning by chance, that the rock hit Goliath in the right spot. But I'm here today to tell you that the story of David and Goliath is a story of innovation. There are medieval paintings of slingers knocking birds out of the air. A slinger in that day could kill a man at 200 yards. Goliath had no more chance against David and his sling than a modern-day man with a .45 Magnum. David out-innovated Goliath. Who are your giants? Walgreens, CVS, the PBMs? You're not going to beat them with a sword and a shield and a javelin. You're not going to out-bureaucracy them. You're not going to out-meeting them. You're not going to out-market them. You're going to beat them by being you, figuring out what your strengths are, and innovating out ahead of them. So where do you start? First, you can't innovate without innovative technology. David didn't invent the sling. He acquired it and he mastered it. Many times the best today have the best tools. This can be true of athletes. Kicker Randall and Jesse Diggins just did something that no other USA team has ever done. They won gold in the cross-country skiing team sprint event. Do you think they settled for 30-year-old technology or 30-year-old technology with some new paint? Or, hey, this is cheaper and it's good enough? No. I can assure you that their search for technology was aggressive and educated. PDS is a great place to find the best, and you shouldn't settle for less. Number 2, thank God you're here, right? You can't innovate if you don't know what's going on. It amazes me how many times in the sales process today we're asking questions like, what are you doing with data mining? Or what are you doing with clinical services? Or what are you doing with chronic care management? And the response is silence. PioneerRx, we have decided that it's not enough to sell software. We have to help our customers. In the last 12 months, not only have we had a call response time for first available calls averaging under 60 seconds, but we've made over 20,000 calls where we reached out to our customers and said, hey, we found something that you could be doing better. Let us help you. Number 3, you can't do it alone. Brian Tracy tells the story of 2 guys coming over on a ship from the old country. The ship hits the North Atlantic and gets into a storm, and it's pitching and it's plunging and it's up and it's down and it's up. And one of the guys runs over to the other and says, the ship, it's breaking up. It's going to go down. And the other one looks at him and says, what do we care? It's not our ship. There are a lot of people looking at the changes in pharmacy today going, what do we care? It's not our ship. I'm here to tell you, if a large number of independents aren't successful, you guys aren't going to be successful. This is your ship. While you're here, you need to connect with like-minded people. You need to find other people who are trying to innovate. You need to work with them often and share ideas. Albert Einstein was at Oxford in 1942 and had just given an exam to a senior group of physics students. He was walking across campus with his teaching assistant who was carrying the papers, a little English lad. Dr. Einstein, isn't this the same exam you gave to the class last year? Yeah, it's the same. Dr. Einstein, how can you give the same exam to the same class 2 years in a row? It's easy. The answers have changed. Well, the answers in pharmacy today are changing rapidly. You guys need to be a part of a group that gets that, like PDS. Because the answers are changing daily, technology is changing daily. You need to be a part of a technology vendor that gets that, like PioneerRx. Peter Drucker, whose writings form the foundation of modern business, said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Let us help you create it.